As long as Nathan doesn't give up, neither will we.
Doesn't matter where you start at. It only matters where your heart's at. You got a chance, better take that. There's no time just to waste that. See, we only get one shot. Like we only get one life. And even when you get beat down, come back like the sunrise. Cause everybody wanna tell you everything you can't do. They ain't never step foot in your shoes. I'ma tell you, anything you want, you can get it. Chase your dreams like you really can't lose. All you gotta do is get it. Shoot for the stars, don't give it. All you gotta do is stay driven. Focus on the mission. Man, they just lack ambition. But you, I can tell you got a vision. So follow your dream.
Hey guys, it's Sam. I happen to run the Auspicious Family live every Friday. I see some of your questions, so I sat down with Mondo and Pam intimately, and here are their answers. How did you and Pamela meet?
Pamela and I met at a workplace. We both worked in the same place. I was there before her, actually. I was there about a year in, and somebody knew her, and I seen a picture of her on her wallpaper, and I asked, like, who's that girl? And she was like, oh, that's my friend. I was like, well, does she need a job? Because, you know, she was very pretty, and I was like, trying to get her to get in there and work, and yeah, she started working there.
Describe Pam on your first date.
Extremely gorgeous. To be honest with you, I thought she was too good for me. Way too pretty for me. But she was very beautiful.
When and where did you first kiss?
This was funny. We're at a parking lot of Albertsons, which is a store here in Bakersfield, and we're getting dropped off from work. And that's where we parked our cars and stuff. And we're just messing around. We're flirting, and then one of my friends said he was antagonizing the whole thing, like, kiss him, and she did. It was like a quick little peck, and it was awesome.
What did you think after your first date with Pam?
Like I said, I thought that she was too good for me, way too good for me. Just totally different, opposite worlds to me. I felt like she was sophisticated, well-mannered.
What was it about Pam that made you realize that she was the one?
I think it's the way that she loves me. No.
What was the first meal that Pam ever cooked for you?
Cooked for me?
If you could recall.
Oh.
And was it good?
I think that the answer is no. The answer is no, it wasn't good. From what I remember when we first moved in, we wouldn't cook much. We would always eat out. And when she did cook, she tried to cook this chicken, and she put some seasoning on it, some weird seasoning, because really we were living with somebody, a roommate, and he had the condiments and stuff. And she tried, but she used like some sour spices. No, it wasn't good. It was not good. But I told her it was alright, don't worry about it. It was chicken.
She's gotten better, I bet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What was the first movie that you both watched together?
The Bourne Ultimatum. I try to get her into the whole born identity kind of things, and I really wanted to see that movie. And so I know it wasn't a romantic one, but it was cool.
What's Pam's favorite color?
Maroon and black.
What's your favorite spouse's favorite color to wear?
Black. I see her wear a lot of black, and I like black actually. I encourage you to wear black.
What's Pam's shoe size?
Shoe size? That's funny. She's a 4. She's a 4.
Wow, he's a 4. Is Noah a 4? About a 4?
Like
5?
she's small feet.
And this is where it kind of gets a little personal here.
Okay.
Kind of went through that with Pam. How did your family react about you marrying Pam?
My family has always been supportive. My family never doubted any of my decisions or opinionated anything. From a very young age, I've kind of alienated myself from my family in a way, which I'm talking immediate family, right? You're talking parents. Yeah. I kind of alienated away from my parents, so I didn't seek or mention the approval of marrying her. I just did what I needed to do, and that's it. I didn't ask them for permission or involve them in anything because my parents had divorced. So my mom was more, just gave me a nice little advice. But she was there through the whole thing. She attended our wedding, so it was lovely having her there.
I know Noah has been diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
What's your thought about that? Your first thought when you found out that what made you and Pam, like he's something wrong? Like,
at first, I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was a mistake. I thought, boys are boys. Boys are boys. They're destructive. But again, he's my first son, so I didn't know what the baseline of having a child is, anyways. So I was just like. But I think it hit me hard when he was hitting himself and throwing himself on the floor, smashing his head. I thought that's when I realized that, okay, maybe he is not, when he wasn't making full-on conversations with us, he was having a little bit of trouble.
how did you and Pam feel about that? I know you guys probably talked together and said, what do we do? Or reach out to people? Or what did you guys...
I think my wife took it a lot harder than I did. She was more heartbroken about the whole thing. She cried during the first IEP meeting where we talked about, the whole thing. The first meeting, I remember she was crying, and, it was really hard on her. But I've always felt that if I break down, there's no longer a base of strength. So I never really broke down in front of her with Noah or anything. I always told her that everything was going to be fine, and it is fine.
What's the best thing you like about Noah?
Noah? I think that Noah is free-spirited. Like, Noah is not afraid to meet a certain standard of a person. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Noah is just him, who he is. He doesn't care about what people think about him. Oftentimes we always say, hey, don't do that because people might think you're weird. And he says, I don't care. I'm just being me. And I think that that's something that we kind of forget. You gotta be yourself, man. So that's what I love about him. He loves being himself. He's not afraid to do it.
Now let's talk about a little bit about Nathan.
Okay.
Nathan's condition. What is Nathan's condition?
Cutis type 3.
And what is that? What does that do to like the body? What is that? I know you know more about that stuff. What is that? What is it?
Well, the mutation is ALDH18A1. The mutation is where it duplicated itself. I believe that pretty much, to give you a fair example, is kind of like wiring a TV wrong. You try to turn up the volume and it turns off the TV. I feel like that's pretty much what describes his body, He has no control over his body. It shakes, dystonia, I feel that's what it's called. Seizures, vomiting, cyclic vomiting. His skin is loose, developmental delays, physical and mental.
I know hearing all this from a doctor, or many things you probably heard from the doctor, but how did that make you feel? Probably a lot going through your mind, but how did that make you feel about knowing his condition and all that they were telling you?
First, it was hard to hear that was happening to us, because I feel like that happens to other people. It happened to other people. It didn't happen to us. Like, it couldn't be our life anymore, you know? But then I realized that, you know, we're not in their hands. We're in God's hands. You know, so I couldn't give myself into that anymore. Like, okay, you know, I don't focus on what I can't control anyways. So.
I know Nathan has had a couple surgeries. Can you name them? Can you tell us what?
Yeah. So the first surgery that he was supposed to have, they call it a surgery, is the G tube, right? Because he was unable to eat by mouth. So they said a G tube, he needed to meet a certain weight size. We met that, we did that. But then before they did the actual G tube, one of the surgeons looked into his stomach and said, hey, you know what? He has a malrotation in his stomach. So that could be dangerous. So he told us that there's a LAD procedure, and that was going to have to be done since they're already going to open his stomach for the G tube, they're going to go in and fix that. Then on top of that, they said, I'm going to remove his appendix so that later on he won't have any trouble. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so he did that, and then it ended up, oh yeah, he had a hernia as well. So he wanted to fix all that. But the hernia popped out again, so he had to go back under the knife and fix that again. So that's 2 surgeries. And then we're about to be discharged, and it ended up, his eyes ended up being a problem, and they said that they were way too cloudy and it could lead to blindness, so they had to do cataract surgery. So both eyes, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 surgeries. And then on our way towards discharge, they ended up finding out that the G tube was not the way to go, because the food was still projectiling out his body in high volumes. So they talked to us about a jejunum, you know, a GJ tube. So he had to go back under the knife for that, which was just, they call it a procedure as well. So he had to have Broviac and put right here in his heart area or something, I don't know, something about his neck area. So that's the 5th one. Yeah.
I know in a moment of one of those times you were at the Madera hospital,
Yeah.
Nathan had lost breath. He couldn't breathe anymore, right?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? Remember that day? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, so after he came back from that 5-hour procedure, he was intubated. And when they were taking that out, he just couldn't breathe anymore. So he stopped breathing. He turned completely purple. He just lost his color completely. And me and my wife were both there. When my wife saw that, she just ran out of the room crying hysterically, because, I mean, who wouldn't, you know? I remained calm. I looked at him and I felt extreme peace. I didn't feel any worry. I didn't feel any distress or anything like that. I know some people might think like that's weird, right? But in that moment I felt God. I know it might sound weird to you, but I felt him like kind of pat me right here and say, it's fine. It's fine. So I immediately, the doctors were going to work on him, so I backed away from I can't control that. I couldn't do anything anyways. So I just went towards my wife, because my wife ran out of the room, and I aided her, and I covered her with love, you know what I'm saying, and understanding of, you know. I took her down to the chapel. We prayed together, and I remember me telling her that, you know, that God is in control of everything. And there's one thing I told her. Look, as long as Nathan doesn't give up, neither will we. It's up to him. And that's how we've moved past that. And a nurse came by and told us that he started breathing again.
How long was Nathan at the Madera hospital?
He was there for 3.5 months. 3.5 months. Yeah. It seemed like a year. Because every day we were there, every single day. And it wasn't a short day. It was a long, long day.
What did you tell Pam when all this was going? I know you just mentioned a little bit about not being able to see Noah, coming back home. There must have been something you told her, and I'm pretty sure you probably gave her some words of encouragement.
Well, every time I would always keep things, handle things with humor, laughing, joking. Always made her laugh. My mission was to always make her laugh. In the morning, make her laugh. Lunchtime, make her laugh. While we're sitting there, Nathan, make her laugh. Before we go to bed, make her laugh. That's my ultimate goal, was to make her happy. I never wanted to see her sad. I never wanted to see her, upset. Always laughing. A smile on her face all the time. And that's what I did. Inside I was absolutely scared of her, because she was losing her hair. She was, having these panic anxiety attacks. Of course, like, she felt it a lot more, the maternal side of things. She felt it a lot more, than I believe. And so I did what I could. And so, of course, I would give her advice, I talked to her. I mean, come on. We have 2 hours back and forth we would drive. 2 hours of just complete information that I would talk to her, and always made her laugh, man.
When they had told you about the cutest laxa and all that stuff, what did the diagnosis about the cutest laxa is what I'm saying. What did doctors? I'm pretty sure. I know you've told many times that they sometimes don't even know. Well, even when you go now to appointments, they don't know what cutest laxa is. Like, what is that? When they told you that and they mentioned that it wasn't curable, what was going through your...
When they told me that it was incurable, I knew what I had to do. I knew that I had to give him a voice, give Nathan a voice. And I felt like I put myself in his shoes. If I was having that disease, I would speak up and find something, speak out and raise awareness. I mean, of course it's worrying, because you think, like, man, like, they give you all these, of course, like, they have to give you all the worst scenarios. He's not going to walk, he's not going to talk, he's going to be, and in the way they said it, like, he's going to be severely mentally, like, delayed. Like, you have to be prepared for the worst. But I wasn't really listening to any of that. I just felt like, okay.
When did you tell Noah about Nathan's condition?
I talked to him straight up about it, because he would ask about him, why is my brother normal, what's wrong, and so I kind of let him know, that he's a little sick right now, but he's gonna get a little better. He's fine, he's alive, he's not on the verge of death or anything like that. But I told him that he just needs a little extra help, but I think Noah understands a lot more than we give him credit. He knows. It's funny because he tells his friends online, or he tells his friends at school, my brother has cutest laxes.
What made you and your family share your story and your journey on social media?
Well, like I said, how would you feel if you didn't have a voice? You couldn't talk. How would someone help you if you didn't have a voice? That's how Nathan is. He can't speak for himself. So it's my duty as a father to speak for him. Regardless of what people will say, regardless of how they will attack us, my family, there's a bigger picture here.
Is it worth it?
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. When someone writes you a message and they say, hey, you know what, after seeing Nathan's story, I was about to kill myself. I was about to take my life. Seeing Nathan's story makes me feel like my life wasn't that bad in the beginning. So I'm living because of your son. Tell me that's not worth it.
Oh, yes, of course.
So Nathan has a bigger purpose than this, and I think people don't understand that. I think people see the bad of the, the tired. I mean, it is bad, but I think that there's a silver lining, is what they say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're just vessels for God's purpose, bro. So.
What would you say to a family that's going through a similar situation, maybe a special needs kid? What would you say to a family that's going through something similar as you?
You're auspicious. You're destined for greatness. Everyone's destined for greatness. Everyone has the ability to be successful and live a happy life. Now, how do you measure success? Money? Health? So you can't say that you're not great. So regardless of what the family is going through, we're destined for greatness because we're made in God's image. So just keep going. Don't listen to the doctors. Don't listen to the negative people. Keep on fighting. If your baby boy or baby girl is fighting, fight alongside them.
I like that. Last question here. Many marriages end up in divorce. What do you think is the most important part of the marriage to keep it stable?
Don't give up. Don't give up on each other. I mean, let's really be realistic. There's problems in every marriage. If they tell you that there isn't, it's a lie. There's always some kind of trouble. You know, maybe it's not heavy trouble, but there's always something. You know, but I think that as long as you keep a open communication on how you feel, always talking about things, you know what I'm saying? Because there has to be. I mean, there is problems. You know, between me and Pam, we've had our ups and downs. But I think at the end of the day, when we talked about it, when we came to an agreement of what we are, how we are, our flaws, opening, you know what I'm saying, opening up. You recognize, throw away the ego, which blames the other person, which says, oh, well, I do this and I am the way I am because of you. No, I think that's cowardness. I think that if you say, look, this is who I am. I am like this because I accept my responsibilities. I am how I am, and I apologize that this made you feel this way. I think that an open communication is the best thing. And again, from the get-go, what are you in this relationship in the beginning for? I think that a lot of the times you don't do that. You just kind of go with emotions and start throwing the word love around. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what ends up, breaking these marriages because there was never a strong foundation. Who's your foundation? Money? Attraction? Lust? Or God? And God's principles. Once you find out that your foundation is strong, I don't think anything can bring it down. No matter how hard it shakes. Where's your foundation? So, foundation is God, communication, and family.
We're done. Sure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We appreciate you guys watching. Very intimate video, but we enjoyed doing it. And Sam, shout out to him for actually sitting down and recording us and also writing all the questions down for us.
I'll answer that.
That was awesome. So let's bring in the shout outs for today.
Section of my deepest needs.
Alright guys, so that's the shout out for the week. If you guys want to get shouted out in our next YouTube video, all you gotta do is
all you have to do is subscribe, turn on post notifications, and comment below.
you gotta write this thing.
I did.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, you are
Auspicious.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.